A broke man does not reach 1 million by worshipping small numbers. He reaches it by using small numbers as the first proof that he can be controlled by a plan. The false belief is that compound interest will rescue you while your income stays weak. It will not. The market can multiply capital, but it cannot create surplus for a man who leaks money, avoids skill, and invests only what is left after chaos. Starting with $50, $100 or $250 a month is not shameful, but it is only powerful if it becomes a flaw, not a permanent identity. The danger is feeling responsible while the math still keeps you trapped for decades. The opposite trap is worse, gambling, because slow progress insults your ego. So the plan is staged: build surplus, automate discipline, use the calculator without mercy, raise income every 90 days, then let consistency and larger contributions do what fantasy cannot. Ronald Read worked as a gas station attendant and janitor. He did not look like the image most men have in their heads when they imagine wealth. He was not showing luxury online. He was not giving speeches about success. He was not begging the world to see him as special. But when he died, reports revealed that he had built a fortune of roughly $8 million and left major gifts to his local hospital and library. Understand the real lesson. Ronald Read is not proof that low income is harmless. He is not proof that you can stay financially weak forever and expect the market to save you. His life proves something colder. Small numbers become powerful only when they are protected by time, discipline, frugality, patience, and ownership. Most broke men do the opposite. They invest a little, then demand that the little amount rescue an undisciplined life. They put $100 into the market, then leak $400 through convenience, stress, food, subscriptions, status, dates, distractions, and emotional escape. Then they wonder why nothing changes. The market does not respect your image. It does not respect your pain. It does not care that your family did not support you. It does not care that your friends doubted you. It does not care that you feel behind. It respects accumulated behavior. That is the first law. Now look at the math. At a hypothetical 7% annual return, compounded monthly, $100 a month for 30 years, becomes roughly $122,000. $250 a month becomes roughly $305,000. $500 a month becomes roughly $610,000. Around $820 a month gets close to $1 million over 30 years. This is not a guarantee, this is not a prediction, this is a model. The calculator is not a prophet, it is an interrogator. Investor.gov uses the same battlefield in its compound interest calculator: initial investment, monthly contribution, time, and estimated annual return. The machine does not ask how misunderstood you are. It does not ask how badly you want to win. It does not ask how many people failed to believe in you. It asks for inputs. That is why the calculator offends men. Because it exposes the difference between the man they imagine and the man their monthly contribution proves. A man says he wants $1 million, but his life produces $100 of surplus. That gap is not there to humiliate him, it is there to command him. So here is the question most broke men avoid. If $100 a month will not build the future you want, where does the missing money come from? Not from fantasy, not from pretending 7% is 70%. Not from gambling on a stock because slow progress hurts your pride. Not from watching another video and calling the emotional high discipline. The missing money must come from surplus growth. And surplus growth comes from a man becoming more governable, more useful, more valuable, and less emotionally expensive to maintain. This is why most broke men do not have an investment problem first. They have a command problem. Their money has no ruler. Their income arrives, and every appetite negotiates with it. Food negotiates, rent negotiates, subscriptions negotiate, friends negotiate, status negotiates, loneliness negotiates, fatigue negotiates, stress negotiates. Then, at the end of the month, the future receives whatever survived the disorder. That is not investing. That is financial charity given to your future after your present has finished feasting. Machiavelli wrote that it is much safer to be feared than loved. In money, this means your plan must be feared by your impulses more than your ego wants to be loved by comfort. If your plan does not frighten the lazy version of you, the lazy version of you will rule the kingdom. And the kingdom is your life. The first stake is time. If you are 25, you can waste 5 years and still call yourself young. That is the danger. Youth gives men enough room to lie to themselves. If you are 35, the same 5 years begin to look like a verdict. The people who once doubted you stop sounding like enemies and start sounding like evidence. If you are 45, wasted time becomes more expensive than wasted money. You can earn money again. You cannot earn back the years where discipline should have been compounding. The second stake is status. A man with no assets has fewer options. He stays in rooms he should leave. He tolerates employers who underpay him. He accepts bad clients. He remains polite to disrespect. He explains himself to people whose only power over him is that he cannot afford to walk away. This is why money matters. Not because luxury matters, not because showing off matters. Money matters because options matter. Savings create refusal power. Assets create optionality. Higher income creates distance between your decision and your fear. The third stake is self-respect. Every month you say, "I will start later." You train yourself to distrust your own word. And when a man no longer trusts his own word, he becomes easy to control. He needs motivation. He needs reassurance. He needs someone else to believe in him. He needs another video, another speech, another emotional hit, another fantasy. But self-respect does not come from feeling inspired. It comes from repeated evidence, a number you defend, a plan you obey, a contribution that happens even when nobody is watching. That brings us to stage 1. Stop worshipping small contributions. If you invest $50 a month, respect it, but do not worship it. If you invest $100 a month, respect it, but do not build an identity around it. If you invest $250 a month, respect it, but do not pretend the mountain has been conquered because you have started walking. Small contributions are not wealth at first. They are evidence that you can obey a plan. Evidence that you can delay pleasure. Evidence that your future has started collecting tribute from your present. That matters. A broke man needs this evidence because his life may be full of broken promises. He said he would start waking earlier. He stopped. He said he would stop wasting money. He continued. He said he would learn a skill. He watched videos instead. He said he would become serious. Then fatigue negotiated him back into the same old habits. So the first small contribution is not about showing the market you are rich. It is about showing reality that you can be commanded. $50 is not impressive to the world, but it can be dangerous to the old version of you. Because if you can defend 50, you can defend 100. If you can defend 100, you can defend 250. If you can defend 250, you can begin hunting for 500. And once you are hunting for 500, you are no longer merely investing. You are redesigning the man who creates the surplus. This is where most men fail. They want the emotional dignity of saying, "I invest," without accepting the strategic pressure of asking, "Why can I not invest more?" The first sentence gives comfort. The second sentence creates command. The calculator does not want your comfort, it wants your behavior. So stage 1 is simple. Start small if you must. But never let small become your identity. A small contribution is a floor. It is not a throne. It is a beginning. It is not a personality. It is proof that discipline has entered the room. It is not proof that wealth has been solved. Small investing starts the man. Bigger surplus builds the fortune. And now the next question becomes unavoidable. If the first number is only the floor, how do you build the floor higher without lying to yourself? Stage 2, build the first surplus floor. Before you become sophisticated, become stable. Before you chase advanced investing, create recurring surplus. Before you talk about portfolios, prove that money can pass through your hands without being captured by chaos. A broke man often wants investing to feel powerful because his daily financial life feels humiliating. So he skips the boring part. He wants stock picks before savings. He wants returns before discipline. He wants the language of wealth before the behavior of ownership. But surplus is the first territory. Surplus means your income exceeds your appetite, not once, not when you are motivated, not when life is easy, repeatedly, every month. A man with no surplus has no army. Every dollar is already assigned to survival, comfort, debt, disorder, or emotional relief. And if every dollar already has a master, your future owns nothing. The Federal Reserve reported that in 2025, only 63% of adults in the United States said they would cover a hypothetical $400 emergency using cash or equivalent. That means a large portion of adults live close to financial shock. This is the real battlefield for the broke man. Not becoming rich tomorrow. Becoming less fragile first. Fragility makes men obedient. Fragility makes men quiet when they should negotiate. Fragility makes men tolerate disrespect because rent is due. Fragility makes a man call his fear being practical. When you have no surplus, every problem becomes a threat. A car repair becomes a crisis. A late paycheck becomes panic. A bad manager becomes your owner. A client who disrespects you becomes someone you cannot afford to lose. A family member with financial opinions becomes louder because you have no evidence strong enough to silence them. This is why the first surplus floor is not only about investing, it is about refusal power. Refusal power is the ability to say no without your life collapsing. No to bad work. No to desperate decisions. No to social spending you cannot afford. No to people who use your lack of options against you. No to the wounded ego that wants to look richer than you are. So here is the practical command. Open your accounts. Look at the last 30 days. Do not moralize. Do not dramatize. Classify every leak. Food leak, subscription leak, convenience leak, status leak, escape leak, romantic attention leak, stress leak, fatigue leak. Then choose one number you can defend automatically every month. Not the biggest number, the number you will not betray. That number becomes the floor. If the number is $50, then it is 50. If the number is $100, then it is 100. If the number is $250, then it is 250. But once you name it, you are not allowed to treat it casually. It is no longer spare money. It is tribute paid to your future. It is proof that the present is no longer allowed to consume everything. This is not softness. This is conquest. You are conquering your own disorder before the market ever compounds your money. If you are the kind of man who is tired of confusing motion with progress, stop collecting advice you never weaponize. You already know you need discipline, but your real problem is that your system collapses when nobody is watching. If you keep consuming harsh truths without building structure, you will become a man who understands power but never holds any. Inside Patreon, you get deeper, unfiltered breakdowns on discipline, money, leverage, and self-command, so you can turn pressure into a working system. This is not for men looking for comfort. It is for men who are ready to be governed by the future they claim they want. The decision is yours. Now, once the first surplus floor exists, a new danger appears. Emotion will try to steal it back. You will have a hard week and tell yourself you deserve relief. You will see another man flexing online and feel behind. You will watch the market drop and think, maybe you should stop. You will get invited somewhere and feel embarrassed to say no. You will feel lonely, tired, underappreciated, and tempted to buy a temporary identity with money your future needed. This is why Stage 3 matters. Stage 3, automate discipline before you feel ready. Dollar cost averaging means investing equal amounts at regular intervals, regardless of market ups and downs. The point is not magic. The point is removing emotion from the timing decision. A weak man negotiates with his future every month. A disciplined man removes the negotiation. Automation is not a convenience. It is a leash around the version of you that cannot be trusted after a hard week. The version of you that says, I deserve this. The version of you that opens the brokerage app looking for excitement. The version of you that watches a red market and thinks, maybe I should stop. The version of you that sees another man getting rich fast online and thinks patience is humiliation. That man must not be given control. The mistake is believing that the motivated version of you will always be present. He will not. Some days you will be tired. Some days you will feel disrespected. Some days your ambition will feel stupid. Some days the people who doubted you will sound right. Some days your old environment will pull on you. Some days your nervous system will beg for escape. So the plan must execute before that man enters the room. Automatic transfer, automatic investment, automatic separation between spending money and future money, automatic protection from the emotional court inside your head. Machiavelli understood appearance and reality. He observed that people judge more by what they can see than by what is hidden. Your family cannot see your private intention. The market cannot see your imagined potential. Your friends cannot see the man you swear you are becoming. But your accounts can show proof. Every automatic contribution is visible proof. Every month you invest before you consume, you are training reality to respect you. This is also why the investing principles often repeated by Vanguard are useful here. Goals, balance, cost, and discipline. Not excitement, not prediction, not ego. Goals, balance, cost, discipline. A broke man does not need to pretend he is a hedge fund manager. He needs a goal he can define, a contribution he can repeat, a diversified structure he can understand, a cost base that does not quietly bleed him, and a plan he does not abandon when his mood changes. This is where fake sophistication destroys beginners. They learn complicated language before they build repeatable behavior. They talk about sectors, options, market timing, crypto cycles, leverage, and macro conditions. But they cannot defend one automatic contribution for 12 months. That is not intelligence. That is performance. The market does not need you to sound advanced. It needs you to stop interrupting the machine. If your system depends on your mood, it is not a system. If your investing depends on whatever money survives at the end of the month, it is not a plan. If your contribution changes every time your emotions change, your future is being ruled by weather. The strategic man asks a different question. Not, how do I feel this month? He asks, did the system execute? That question is colder. That question is cleaner. That question removes drama. And drama is expensive. Every time you emotionally renegotiate your contribution, you reopen the door to the old man, the man who leaks, the man who explains, the man who waits, the man who wants to become wealthy but refuses to become controlled. Automation humiliates that man. Good. He should be humiliated, because he has cost you enough already. But now a deeper problem appears. Automation can protect the first number. It can make sure $50 happens. It can make sure $100 happens. It can make sure $250 happens. But what if the number is still too small? What if the system executes perfectly and the calculator still says you will not reach the future you claim to want? That is where most men face the moment they were trying to avoid. Because now the problem is no longer consistency. The problem is capacity. Capacity. That is the word most broke men do not want to face. They want to believe the issue is luck. They want to believe the issue is timing. They want to believe the issue is that nobody supported them, nobody believed in them, nobody gave them a clean road, nobody handed them the first advantage. And some of that may be true. But the market does not pay you because your story is painful. The market pays you when your capacity increases, your capacity to earn, your capacity to preserve, your capacity to repeat, your capacity to remain calm when the numbers insult your ego. This is where stage 4 begins. Stage 4, use the calculator without mercy. The calculator is not there to encourage you. It is there to remove illusions. $100 a month is a start. But over 30 years, at a hypothetical 7% annual return, it does not become $1 million. $250 a month is stronger. Still not enough. $500 a month becomes serious. Still not quite enough for $1 million over 30 years under this assumption. Around $820 a month gets close. So if your current contribution is $100 and your target is $1 million, the answer is not despair. The answer is hierarchy. First, maintain the habit. Second, increase surplus. Third, increase income. Fourth, protect consistency. Fifth, avoid ruin. The broke man fails when he sees the gap and becomes ashamed. The dangerous man sees the gap and becomes precise. He does not say, "I cannot do this." He says, "The calculator has identified the bottleneck." That sentence separates the emotional man from the strategic man. The emotional man feels attacked by math. The strategic man uses math as intelligence. The emotional man says, "This is impossible." The strategic man says, "This number tells me what must change." If the calculator says your current path is too weak, it has not condemned you. It has exposed the battlefield. Maybe your spending is too loose. Maybe your income is too low. Maybe your skill is not valuable enough yet. Maybe your contribution is not automated. Maybe your ego keeps interrupting the plan. Maybe you are trying to become wealthy while refusing to become more useful to the market. That is not a tragedy. That is information. And information is power only when it changes behavior. This is where many finance messages become dangerous. They tell broke men that starting small is enough, because that feels encouraging. But encouragement can become a sedative. It can make a man feel responsible while still moving too slowly to escape. Starting small is honorable. Staying small without pressure is not. A calculator does not care that you are trying. It asks whether the inputs match the outcome. This is why you must use it without mercy. Put in your current monthly contribution. Put in your time horizon. Put in a reasonable hypothetical return. Then look at the result without emotional decoration. If the number is too low, do not insult yourself. Interrogate yourself. What must increase? What must disappear? What must be sold? What must be learned? What must be negotiated? What must be automated? What must stop pretending to be a necessity? This is the point where a man begins to govern himself. Your weak income is not your identity. It is a bottleneck. Your small contribution is not your destiny. It is your current capacity. Your lack of support is not the verdict. It is the condition under which proof must be built. Warren Buffett did not become the symbol of capital allocation because he worshipped glamour. He studied the game. He worked under Benjamin Graham. He formed Buffett Partnership Limited in 1956. He later gained control of Berkshire Hathaway in 1965. His pressure was not poverty in the same way as an unsupported beginner. But the strategic pressure was the same. Prove judgment through capital. His action was not noise. It was disciplined allocation. His first proof was a track record. That is the lesson most men avoid. Money follows judgment when judgment is proven over time. Most men want the reward without building the proof of judgment. They want millionaire outcomes while making consumer decisions. They want sovereignty while their calendar is ruled by distraction. They want compound interest while their income stays trapped at the same level for years. They want respect from the world while their private numbers still show disorder. This is why the calculator must be used without mercy. It tells you whether your plan is an investment plan or a bedtime story. A bedtime story comforts you. A plan commands you. A bedtime story says, one day things will change. A plan says, this month, this number changes. A bedtime story says, I am doing better than most people. A plan says, better than most people is irrelevant if the number still does not reach freedom. A bedtime story says, at least I started. A plan says, good. Now raise the floor. This is the identity shift. You stop seeing the calculator as judgment. You start seeing it as a ruler, not a ruler that owns you, a ruler that shows you what must be conquered. And now the next question is unavoidable. If the calculator says the monthly number is too high for your current life, what is the move? Not panic, not gambling, not pretending. Income upgrade. Stage 5. Create the income upgrade loop. Every 90 days, one lever must improve. Skill, proof, offer, negotiation. This is where the broke man's investment plan separates itself from fantasy, because if your income does not grow, your contribution may stay trapped. And if your contribution stays trapped, time has to carry too much weight. A man investing $100 a month and refusing to increase income is asking compound interest to do the work of self-command, skill building, and market value. That is not a plan. That is outsourcing responsibility to time. Time is powerful, but time is not your servant if your behavior stays weak. So every 90 days you attack one lever. Skill means you become more useful in a way the market recognizes. Not, I am talented. Not, I work hard. Not, I have potential. A sellable skill. Sales. Copywriting. Coding. Design. Operations. Data. Video editing. Finance. Product building. A skill that turns effort into market value. The question is not, what do I enjoy? The question is, what skill can increase my earning power enough to raise my monthly contribution? That is the only reason this belongs inside an investment plan. Skill is not decoration. Skill is surplus infrastructure. If a skill cannot eventually help you earn more, negotiate better, sell something, build something, improve your position, or create more optionality, then it may be interesting, but it is not yet strategic. The unsupported man cannot afford random self-improvement. He needs directed capability. Proof means evidence other people can inspect. a portfolio, a case study, a measurable result, a client win, a public project, a body of work. Proof is how invisible value becomes visible. This audience understands the pain of being underestimated. But many men confuse being underestimated with being unproven. There is a difference. If you are underestimated, the world is wrong about you. If you are unproven, the world may simply lack evidence. That distinction matters, because anger does not create proof. Evidence does. You may feel capable, you may believe you are different, you may know there is more inside you than your current life reveals. Good. Now make it inspectable. The market is not your mother. It does not reward hidden potential because you feel deeply about it. It rewards signals, results, output, competence, consistency, scarcity, reputation, a body of work. This is why proof matters to investing. Because proof increases earning power. Earning power increases surplus. Surplus increases contribution. Contribution increases assets. Assets increase options. Options increase freedom. That is the ladder, not fantasy, not hustle theater. A ladder, an offer means your skill is packaged into something someone can buy. If nobody can buy your value remains hidden. And hidden value is often treated as non-existent value. This is brutal, but useful. A man may be intelligent and still broke because his intelligence is not packaged. He may be hard-working and still underpaid because his work is not positioned. He may be talented and still ignored because nobody can clearly understand what problem he solves. The world is not obligated to search your soul for value. You have to make value legible. An offer turns ability into a transaction. You do not need to become fake. You do not need to become loud. You do not need to beg. But you do need to stop hiding behind vague potential. What can you do? For whom? With what result? At what price? In what time frame? With what proof? That is not selling your soul. That is making your value visible enough to be purchased. Negotiation means you stop waiting to be rewarded and begin increasing your claim. A raise, a better role, a better client, a higher rate, a cleaner contract, a stronger position. A man with no alternatives begs silently, even when his mouth is closed. A man with proof negotiates differently. He is not asking to be loved. He is showing the cost of underestimating him. This is where broke men split into two groups. The first group invests small and hopes time will save them. The second group invests small while building the income machine that allows them to invest bigger later. Only the second group becomes strategically dangerous. Because income feeds surplus. Surplus feeds assets. Assets feed optionality. Optionality feeds power. Power feeds freedom. This is the ladder. And the ladder must be climbed in reality, not imagined in private. John D. Rockefeller started work at 16 as an assistant bookkeeper in Cleveland. He began close to the numbers before he became a ruler of industry. His pressure was not inherited dominance. His action was disciplined commercial learning. His first proof was competence with accounts, trade, and business operations. The lesson is simple. Before Rockefeller controlled oil, he learned to control numbers. That is the part most men skip. They want empire before bookkeeping. They want freedom before arithmetic. They want scale before surplus. They want the crown before they can defend the floor. But power begins where delusion ends. Your 90-day loop is the broke man's weapon. Every 90 days, ask yourself, what skill did I sharpen? What proof did I create? What offer did I improve? What negotiation did I attempt? If the answer is nothing, then do not blame compound interest. You are asking the market to multiply a man who has not increased his value. That is not harsh. That is accurate. And accurate truth is more useful than comforting deception. If you are the kind of man who keeps watching content about power while avoiding the work that would make you harder to ignore, stop calling consumption progress. You already know your income must rise, but your real problem is that your skill, proof, offer and negotiation are not yet forcing the market to update its judgment. If you keep waiting to be discovered, you will remain a man with private ambition and no public proof. Inside Patreon, you get deeper, unfiltered systems for building discipline, leverage, income power, and strategic self-command, so you can convert isolation into measurable advantage. This is not for spectators. It is for men who are done explaining and ready to build evidence. The decision is yours. Now, once a man starts investing and earning more, he meets the enemy that ruins more plans than poverty, his ego. Stage 6. Protect the plan from ego. Slow progress insults the insecure man. That is why he gambles. He sees $100 a month and feels small. He sees another man get rich fast online and feels behind. He sees a stock double and thinks discipline is for cowards. He sees crypto hype, meme stocks, leverage, options, screenshots, fake luxury, and suddenly his plan feels too boring for his wounded pride. Understand this clearly. The market is filled with predators who feed on impatience. They know the broke man wants escape. They know he wants revenge. They know he wants one trade to erase years of feeling invisible. They know he does not merely want money. He wants emotional compensation. He wants the feeling that every person who ignored him was wrong. He wants the number to rise fast enough to repair his self-image. He wants wealth to arrive as a verdict against his doubters. That is why he becomes dangerous to himself. Not because he is stupid, because he is wounded. A wounded ego will call gambling conviction. It will call panic risk management. It will call envy research. It will call desperation being aggressive. It will call leverage confidence. It will call a lucky win proof of genius. And then one bad decision can destroy months of discipline. This is the hidden cruelty of ego. It does not always destroy you when you are weak. Sometimes it waits until you begin improving. You build your first surplus. You automate your first contribution. You watch the account grow. You start feeling different. Then pride enters quietly and says, "You are better than slow men. You deserve a faster path." That sentence has ruined more beginners than ignorance, because the beginner who knows he is beginner can learn. But the beginner who thinks he is exceptional becomes prey. The unsupported man cannot afford to confuse courage with recklessness. Courage is staying consistent when progress is slow. Recklessness is risking ruin because patience feels humiliating. There is a difference. A sovereign man knows it. The Securities and Exchange Commission and Investor.gov guidance on asset allocation emphasizes time horizon and risk tolerance. Diversification spreads money among different investments to reduce risk. Mutual funds and exchange-traded funds can help investors own many investments at once, though they still require understanding. Do not build your future on one fragile bet unless you are prepared to watch that bet break you. This does not mean you never take risk. It means your risks must serve the plan. A broke man should not take risks because he feels invisible. He should take risks because the risk has been studied, sized, contained, and placed inside a larger strategy. The difference is everything. One man risks capital to build ownership. Another man risks capital to medicate shame. One man invests because the system says so. Another man gambles because his ego cannot tolerate being ordinary today. One man understands volatility. Another man discovers volatility after it hurts him. One man survives long enough for compounding to matter. Another man keeps resetting to zero because he confuses intensity with progress. This is why ego protection belongs in the investment plan. Not because investing is only math, because investing is behavior under pressure. If you panic when the market drops, your plan is weak. If you chase when the market rises, your plan is weak. If you abandon diversification because one loud man online became rich fast, your plan is weak. If you buy luxury to signal progress before assets create freedom, your plan is weak. If you stop contributing because the first numbers feel small, your plan is weak. The plan must dominate the ego. Not comfort it, not flatter it, not give it a costume. Dominate it. Your ego wants to feel rich. Your future needs you to become free. Those are not the same thing. Feeling rich spends. Becoming free accumulates. Feeling rich flexes. Becoming free compounds. Feeling rich needs witnesses. Becoming free can grow in silence. Feeling rich asks, do they see me yet? Becoming free asks, did the machine execute? That is the colder identity, and that is the one you need. Here is the payoff. A broke man's investment plan is not primarily about becoming rich at first. It is about becoming governable. Can you be ruled by your future instead of your impulses? Can you preserve $50? Then 100, then 250, then 500. Can you automate before emotion speaks? Can you use the calculator without flinching? Can you increase income every 90 days? Can you protect your plan from ego? Can you let the first small number become evidence instead of identity? That is the mechanism. Small investing starts identity. Bigger surplus builds fortune. Income upgrades accelerate the plan. Automation protects discipline. Diversification protects survival. Ego control prevents the broke man from destroying the very machine that could free him. This is not motivational decoration. This is command architecture. You are not behind because you started small. You are behind if you stay small to avoid pressure. You are not weak because your first contribution is $50. You are weak if $50 becomes an excuse to stop growing. You are not doomed because your income is low. You are doomed only if your income stays low because you refuse to sharpen skill, create proof, package value, and negotiate harder. Stop asking the market to rescue a man who refuses to become more valuable. Stop asking compound interest to do the work of self-command. Stop asking time to forgive financial disorder. The unsupported man has no room for fantasy. No one is coming. Good. That means no one owns your rise. But it also means no one is responsible for your numbers except you. Your plan must become the ruler. Your appetite must become the subject. Your ego must become obedient. And your monthly contribution must become the first proof that the man you claim to be is no longer imaginary. So comment your current monthly investment and the next number you will raise it to. Not your excuse, not your story, the number. Because a man who cannot name the number is still negotiating with weakness. Build the floor, raise the surplus, increase the income, protect the plan. But once the number is named, the next battlefield begins. Building your first real escape fund. Because if one emergency can destroy your progress, you are not free yet. If one bad employer can make you silent, you are not free yet. If one weak month can drag you back to zero, you are not free yet. The first goal is not to look wealthy. The first goal is to become harder to trap. And when a man becomes harder to trap, his posture changes, his speech changes, his patience changes, his risk changes, his relationships change, his relationship with himself changes. Because he is no longer begging life for permission. He is building evidence. He is building leverage. He is building the kind of quiet power that does not need applause to exist. The broke man who survives is not the one with the biggest dream. It is the one who allows a plan to dominate his weakest impulses long enough for his stronger identity to become real. Build the floor, raise the number, obey the machine, and become the kind of man whose future is no longer waiting for permission.